Hey, it's Pastor Kevin for another week's edition of our Nazarene Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch us. If it's morning, evening, whatever day of the week it is, thank you so much for watching us today. Today, actually, we're filming right now on Memorial Day Monday, and we just want to give a special shout out to all of our armed veterans, but specifically if you have lost an armed veteran, a loved one in your family that served in the military, thank you for your sacrifice and for our freedom. And so, but also today's Memorial Day, but you're not watching this on Memorial Day because it's taping. But we did want to give a shout out to Jeremiah too, who is at home with his kids right now, enjoying the day on vacation. And so since Jeremiah couldn't be here today, I brought two other guests with me. One of them, or both of them I like. One of them I like more than the other because one of them is my wife, Jennifer McDonald, right here. And then we have Beth Jacket. Most of you probably know Miss Jacket. Miss Jacket is our Coach Jacket, I guess, is a teacher at the at Chanute High School here in town. And I guess, Jennifer, I heard you have a story you want to open with and share as we kind of get started.
You know, maybe we'll get to that story later.
Okay.
We'll get to it later.
Because you don't have a story.
I'm getting there.
Chris Conklin, our producer, said that I'm always picking on Jennifer during the service, and this was Jennifer's opportunity to have a comeback so she could pick on me, but the reality is that she has nothing on me. She has nothing. Hey, today we want to talk to you about trials that you face kind of in your life. We all face various trials, sometimes marital trials, sometimes financial trials, sometimes work trials or relationship trials or family trials or health trials, whatever the trials may be. And we just want to challenge you today in the midst of your trial to stick with following the path and not quitting. Because we have a tendency when we are going through a hard season or a hard trial, we have a tendency to want to walk away and to want to run away. And so today we're going to talk about staying faithful through the trial. Now, most of you know, if you live in Chanute, and if you've lived in Chanute for some time, that the Church of the Nazarene, and if you've ever been in our sanctuary, had orange carpet. Beth, kind of describe what that carpet looked like.
It was your typical 70s style sanctuary. Orange carpet, paneling, wooden pews.
Red pews.
Red wooden pews.
Wait a second.
On the pews.
There was red pews with orange carpet?
Yes.
Who color schemed that one?
And a blue lobby.
Who?
That was way before my time. I wasn't even born yet.
I think you were, actually. The sanctuary was 76, and I think you were born.
Okay, barely.
Barely born. And in fact, so we had this old sanctuary with wood paneling and orange carpet and red pews, and the sanctuary had a lot of history. And then you actually got married in that church, right?
Yep, Doug and I got married in 1994.
In 1994. How old were you in 94?
22.
22, and so that makes you how old now?
We're not going there.
25.
25.
And so basically, about a year or so ago, or a little over a year ago, we were hit with a pretty hard financial situation at the church, and what we felt like God was calling us to do is, in the midst of that financial trial that we were facing as a church, was to renovate the sanctuary and really modernize our church sanctuary. And so we wanted to get rid of the wood paneling, we wanted to get rid of the pews, get rid of the carpet, and kind of redo everything. The problem was the whole project was about $20,000, and we didn't have $20,000 to make this happen. In fact, due to the financial trial that we were facing, it was about $60,000 of money that we had to come up with pretty quickly, and add that with a $20,000 renovation. So we needed about $80,000 total. And at the time, it seemed very unlikely, very outrageous. And actually, I went to a meeting with the church board, and we said we're going to really modernize the sanctuary and bring it an upgrade to it. And so that's what we did, and we decided that God was calling us to do this. Now, Jennifer, do you remember when we started the renovation in the sanctuary?
Yes.
Do you remember what you were wearing that day when we started the renovation of the sanctuary?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Work clothes, right?
Clothes, for sure, yeah.
Clothes, yes.
Yeah, work boots and hard hat and a little hammer in my pocket.
No, I don't think you've ever worn that ever a day in your life. And so we started the renovation in the sanctuary. And how long did it take us to raise the money? Who knows? How long did it take us?
Not as long as we thought it would take.
Really? I thought it took longer than what we thought it would take.
Huh.
So, how long did it take? Answer the question. Guess.
Couple of months.
Couple months? No.
Um,
You're on the board. You should know this.
6 months.
6 months. It took about 10 months to raise all the money. In fact, we still don't have it all raised. We're in the process of getting there. And so it took us about 10 months to raise it all. And then we had to coordinate workers. Mm-hmm. And then we had to pick designs, colors, and chairs. And that was a big ordeal. And then we had to pick work days of days that we could do it. Then we had to function around still having worship in the sanctuary while we were doing our renovation. We had all of these kind of hoops to jump through, and there was numerous times. How many times do you think during the renovation did I come home and say, "Let's this is not going to work. It's not going to be good. It's going to flop."
Well, I know you came home several times and you said, "I will never be a part of a big project like this ever again."
Why did I say that?
Because it was difficult. It was a lot, and you like organization and neatness and cleanliness, and the sanctuary was a lot.
Yeah. Well, and since I like organization and cleanliness and neatness, those kind of values that I like so much, do you kind of honor those at home when?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. And
How
so
do you like it best when someone rearranges your office?
yes. I've been pranked a few times in my office, renovation of my office when I don't know about it. But so we had to jump through a lot of hoops to really get the renovation done, and really it's kind of a result, more or less of really 14 years of going through a hard time as a church. And we weren't there during that 14 years, but 14 years kind of leading up to the renovation, 14 years of really, I guess just if I can just be so bold to say, really hell on earth during those 14 years, really turbulence within the church and conflict and hardships and pains and kind of going through that, and to get a completed sanctuary. You know, we say 10 months took us to raise the money, but in reality it took 14 years to get, or 15 years, I guess, to get where we needed to be as a church. And so what do you think, talk about, Beth, maybe you were there when the church went through 14 years, and you can be honest because nobody's here but us right now. I'm just kidding. Talk about some of the hard times that the church kind of went through during that 14 years. You don't have to be specific in names or anything like that, but some of the hardships that the church faced during that 14 years.
Well, anytime you have a transition, I think it's hard. Going under someone else's leadership, and I think just not always seeing the big picture. A lot of times, there was stuff in the making, but we just didn't know everything. And I think God had a hand in it, and felt like Doug and I look back on it and felt like we had to go through that to become stronger.
Yeah.
And so sometimes just the hidden stuff is hard and on you, but when you get through and look back on the tunnel, but just a lot of heartache and a lot of people hurt through the years, and didn't know why it was happening, but now we look on it, we're all stronger from it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that we had just incredible. We're actually today and tomorrow we're actually going down to Carthage, or the next day we're going down to Carthage to celebrate the year at the Church of the Nazarene, where all the Nazarene churches get together in Carthage and we celebrate. And so we're really kind of an anniversary, I guess, if you will, from last year. And the past year has just been incredible at the Church of the Nazarene. And you hear about it every week when you watch about the new plants that we planted and the baptisms and all that the Lord's doing, and the conversions and outreach events and financial blessings, just all of these things that God has blessed us with. But I don't think sometimes we can appreciate how great things have become and how great things are. And I probably don't even fully appreciate it because I didn't walk through it with you guys because I wasn't here yet. That you really have to go through the valley to get to the mountaintop. I think a lot of times, and if we stayed on the mountaintops in great times, through a renovation and through a new sanctuary and all these things, if we stayed on the mountaintop and it was always good, we would never really appreciate it. But going through the valley, and so that's kind of the theme that we want to talk about today. Is the church went through a hard time to get on the mountaintop, and we're climbing the mountain now. I don't want to say we've hopefully we haven't peaked yet as a church. And, but, we go through valleys every week, I think, even as a church. But even in our lives, we go through trials and we go through hard times. And so whatever you're struggling with today, we just want to encourage you and say, hey, keep going, keep fighting, don't quit. The Israelites had to walk through the desert for years and years and years and years before they got to the promised land, living off of manna. And if you've ever tasted manna, manna is so bland, and there's like no. Have you ever tasted manna? Either of you? No. It's like bland and unflavored. It's almost like unflavored bread. It's like, why would you? But God's God, so He can. That's what He wanted to provide. That's what He provided. And so, basically, staying faithful and persevering through the trials is what we want to talk about. Because if the church hadn't stayed faithful, hadn't persevered through the trial, we wouldn't be where we're at now. And so here, we're going to translate this now into practicality, into our everyday life. Okay, so I'm going to put both of you girls on the spot right now, and I want to ask you this: what is the biggest trial that you have ever faced in your life? Okay, think about this for a second, and looking back, that you're glad that you didn't quit when you went through that trial, that you're glad that you made it out, and that you're on the maybe not on the mountaintop now, but maybe you were. So the biggest trial that you ever walked through in your life, and you're glad that you didn't quit as you walked through that trial. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Jennifer.
I'll take it. My biggest trial, I think, was in the beginning with our marriage, and I'm glad that we didn't quit. It'll be 11 years next month, and next week actually, and so I think that sticking through that and staying strong through that, I think that was probably the biggest trial that we've ever been through, I've ever been through. And it's probably going to be the biggest one we ever go through, I hope.
Hopefully. Hopefully. I heard a statistic recently, and this was mind-blowing when I heard the statistic. 40% of married couples have this survey that they did. I think it was like 700 people that they surveyed, 700 couples. 40% of married couples have committed an affair. That's outrageous. And that's horrific that's even a stat. And but something that I have because I study this stuff pretty extensively, just because of our past, that we went through. That if you can make it through an affair, this is what I've learned. And if you can make it through an affair in a marriage, and you can come out, and more recent studies have shown this from psychologists, is that if you can make it through an affair, then that marriage is so much stronger than a couple who's never been through it. And I think in part is because they go through this incredible valley to get to the mountaintop, And a lot of times when you're just happily married and everything's fine, you're just constantly on the mountaintop, you don't really realize how great you have it. And so thank God for the valleys. Thank God for the desert times. We hate the desert. I hate the desert. I hate the valleys. That they suck, in all honesty, but they lead us to the mountaintop. And so, Beth, on to you. The hardest trial you've ever faced in your life, and you're glad that you didn't quit when you're going through it.
Mine was probably just a few years ago when my children were struggling being in church and not knowing what to do. We talked about the last 14 years, and as a mom, I had to watch out for my husband's walk with the Lord and my walk with the Lord, but then my children's walk, because they're at the point right now where, I'm supposed to be, preparing them. Yeah. And so just seeking God and asking, where were we supposed to be, and, were we supposed to be at the church we were at or a different church, and it was a valley I don't want to walk through again.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like, as you kind of went through that, the hardships in church, did you ever feel like that? Man, I don't even want to trust God anymore. Was it that type of thing? Was it more like a human side?
It was human. Yeah. I mean, I always had trust in God, but I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I didn't know how to fix the problem. I think that was really hard on me. And we've actually talked about, we were trying to fix the problem and not letting God fix it. I was trying to figure everything out as the mom.
Yeah. Good. Well, the reality is that we're going to go through more trials. That stinks to hear, but one of the biggest mistakes that I think I made during my first year of being a pastor at the church is that I didn't prepare the people enough for trials that they're going to face. I talked about, have your guard up, you're going to be under attack. But Paul probably wrote more on trials than anything else other than the love of Christ and salvation through grace and those type of things. But he spoke frequently of two things, unity and trials. And so he's saying be united and almost be united in the trials. And so hardships are going to come. They're going to happen in the church. They're going to happen in our marriages. They're going to happen with our kids. They're going to happen in our jobs. They're going to happen everywhere. And so we just want to challenge you today to persevere through the trials. Don't quit. Know that there is a mountaintop experience that's coming. Know that you can't stay on the mountaintop forever. If you could, you would never appreciate where you're at. Come and check out our new sanctuary. We want to just challenge you to do that. Our doors are open all the time at the church, so come by really anytime. And if we're not there, there's a little greenhouse right outside of the church that Jennifer will be happy to answer the door and take you over to the church. Right? No, just kidding. But come by and look. The sanctuary is really a testament of valleys that we didn't necessarily walk through. We kind of came on the back end of that, but that so many faithful walked through and stayed committed to the Lord during that time. And so come look at the sanctuary. That's just a mountaintop experience. And so be prepared. You're going to have many more trials to come, but stay faithful through those trials. And so persevere, be committed, don't quit, stay strong, stay united. If you're walking through a trial as your family, stay united in your family. If you're walking through a trial as a church, stay united as a church. Walking through a trial at your job, stay united to make it through that trial. And so, good. Any parting words, ladies? Parting words? We can't have blank silence on television. Have you ever seen a sitcom? It just doesn't work. Okay, what's your story?
I'm going to have to do it another time. I really can't think of one. You're just so good. I just can't think of a story to get you back. I've been thinking this whole time, what could I say? But
you got any
you're just
stories?
so great, honey.
How about a story on her husband is Doug Jackett. I don't know if you know Doug, Coach Jackett, one of the best guys in town. And right behind me, he's probably the second best guy in town, I would think. And so you got any stories on Doug you want to share?
No.
None? No. Oh, actually, I have something. Their house got flamingoed last night.
Yes.
So thanks to whoever flamingoed the Jackett household.
Yeah, shout out to FCCLA for flamingoing my house. So
good. And be sure to check us out on 8:30 and 10:45 at Church of the Nazarene at 1313 West 14th Street. You can also check us out online at ChanuteNazarene.com. You can find us on Facebook.
Are we on Twitter?
We're on Twitter.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Snapchat?
Twitter.
MySpace?
Yes.
We're everywhere else. We're in the paper. Where else?
Check us out, a weekly column in the paper. Check out our online Bible studies online. Check us out at the Fire Escape 93.1. Continue to watch us on Channel 5 or Channel 10 now. I guess they changed it, but thank you for watching. Hey, I do want to do something, ladies, if it's okay with you. Let's take a selfie while we're being filmed right now. We've never done this before.
Oh, wow.
And so this is modern. We're trying to modernize things. And so here you go, ladies. Get in the camera. 1, 2, 3. Good.
Nice.
And so thank you guys for watching this week. And this is how Jeremiah and I usually go out. When I say thank you guys for watching this week, you're going to point at the camera, and then we're going to get faded out into the sunset. So here we go. Thank you guys for watching this week. And until next time, we'll see you next week.